interesting sitting and listening to the presentations. I think of all the women of the world, we're probably the most least understood of women. Our culture, our role in our society, Aboriginal women. As far as I've been taught by my people, we were equal in our society. The changes came in 1788, and what was exported around the world from that experience was a whole lot of lies and mythologies about what happened here and who did what. Men have largely been responsible for the misinterpretation of our culture in itself, because it was males that went out and looked at our communities and did not give the level of importance to women that they should have done. Culturally, like I said, we are on equal footing to our men. We have ceremonial responsibilities, and to the extent that boys don't become men without the input of women. So we're very, very critical linchpin in the whole process of making men. They don't make women, but we make the men. And that's the difference. The world's been told a completely different story about our culture because of the Western patriarchy that came here and is still very much in control here. Our systems of child rearing, our systems of language and law have been disrespected in such an extreme that it's not even considered to be a part of our cultural component for us. The white system and the white patriarchy has done much to destroy Aboriginal culture in this country, and is still doing that to this day. Aboriginal women, our voice was removed by white men, not black men in this country. But we still practice our law, and I still am as black today as the day I was born. In my culture, I'm a woman of high degree. I'm an elder of all of the Wiradjuri people, not some of the Wiradjuri people, but all of southern New South Wales, basically. And I am a matriarch. So you don't get much higher on the list in our system than that. I've been fortunate enough to do a 30-year apprenticeship with my elders, which is how I came to the position of being an elder in my community. And I've been taught by some of the greatest black minds this country's ever had the privilege of knowing. And they certainly didn't teach me this Western patriarchy. They taught me that we are the owners of this land. We are the masters of our destiny, our future, and what's happened here has been an aberration, a crime against humanity of 228 years in duration. Our children have been taken, not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times. This is probably, there's been 8 generations of white people here. So 8 generations of our children have been taken, deliberately so, to commit genocide, to kill us out, to wipe us out. This was the ethos that's been used in this country for 228 years. We were inferior. We are inferior according to this system. Anybody that takes the time and the energy to learn our culture, you will quickly learn how far superior our system is. We do not, and we did not, abuse our children. That is learnt behaviour. Like having intercourse with the sheep was learnt behaviour that they brought. One of the horrible practices that were brought out here and exhibited to our people when they landed over on the other side there, the orgy. No respect for themselves, no respect for the women. We have suffered greatly in 228 years of mythology being applied right around the world about us, about our people, about our circumstances. We did not invite Cook, we did not invite Philip or anyone else that came after him. And a lot of people in the Western world today have fallen for that mythologising and so come here expected to be treated decently. And wham bam, thank you man. What happens when you find out that that don't happen? Still a bastard of a place because of the people that came here. And we need to change that. Our women, the grandmothers started I think about 3 years ago, and that was to for once and for all stop this government and this country removing our children in the numbers that they do. This is cultural ethnocide, practiced on a daily basis right across the country. We are not considered human enough in our form, in our blackness, so we have to be made white to be acceptable. I don't want to be white. Of all the cultures on the planet, I think that's probably one of the most barbaric. Certainly one of the most uncivilised. And they had the arrogance and unmitigated call to come to my people's country and tell us that we're the uncivilised ones. Murder is not a part of our culture. Adultery is not even a part of our culture. So that's how much better our system is than yours. But you need to learn it. You need to learn it off the right people. And you haven't been learning off the right people for a very long time. The so-called puppets of government, the ones that they call leaders, are not our leaders. They are chosen by white people for very deliberate purposes. They fulfil the requirement of white Australia, not black Australia. They say what white people want to hear, not what they need to be told, and that's the big difference. Like I said, we've had 8 generations of our children being removed deliberately and as a part of the policy of government in this country. That is for one reason, to commit genocide, to breed us out. The arrogance of the British who come here and think they have the right to kill a culture because it doesn't suit their purposes, transported it right around the world. Did it to many other peoples on many other continents. But to come here and tell us this is a new country with new people, you're whistling Dixie, you don't know your hearts from your head. We've got the oldest people on the planet, we've got the oldest everything on the planet here. Here. Oldest mountain range. Where do we want to go with this? Oldest. According to our law, all you Jesus, Buddha, Allah, junior gods compared to our God. He's the chairman of the board. Okay? Oldest one in creation. So the arrogance that is applied to us is applied every day, right across the board by this system. I have no authority as a black woman because they don't recognise it or see it. Walk with me in my community anywhere and you'll see it. Now recognise who the leadership is in this country. It's not Noel Pearson, it's not Marcia, they are puppets of government. It's divide and conquer. It's been one of the most effective tools used since times of Rome. And that's not too long ago in our culture, but it's a long time in yours. Divide and conquer, division, create turmoil. Nothing to do with peaceful living and peaceful existence, which is what our system is all about. We might have fought battles on our country, but it wasn't the battles over land or greed, it was over women, childbearing responsibilities, where the bloodlines, where the genes were best applied. Think about that again. Sturdy women to produce sturdy children, to last another generation, to breed, to continue. How long do you think we've been doing that for here? Science still doesn't know. And if we were doing that to our children 200, 300 years ago, wouldn't we be inbred monsters by now? If we've been doing it for thousands of years, like they say. This sickness came here and it's infected everybody. And if you want to learn the appropriate way to address the people in this country, you have to learn Aboriginal law and Aboriginal way. And that's our argument for recognition of our human rights, our basic right to self-determination, our historical right to sovereignty of our own lands. My right to dream of Aboriginal people being the billionaires and not the beggars on our own land. And to try my best to make that dream a reality. Because this system doesn't recognise us, doesn't respect us, takes our children away in these record numbers, says our system is bad. You know, you need some deep introspection. Look at yourselves before you look at someone else. And if you can walk on water, come and show me how, but until then, sit in your own room and explore your own flaws. And don't come and tell me about ours. Because our system is based on a completely different concept than yours. Consensus of the group, truth as the bellwether for everything. If you lied about where water was or food was, the whole of the clan perished. So we have no fear of truth. Those cultures that have come here who mythologise certainly worry every day about truth being exposed because they become exposed as liars. Our people have no problem with truth. But what's got to be told here is the truth from our point of view. We did not consent to any of this. The penal colony that came in 1788, we're still in the penal colony. We know who it was meant for. It wasn't the convicts, it was meant for us. They're still killing us in the jails in record numbers. People like Chris Hurley walk around in this country unpunished for murder. 2 men on northern New South Wales walk around unpunished for murder of a black woman. In one of the most degrading murders I've ever heard in my life. Compare Roger Rogerson and Glenn McNamara's case with what happened up there on the North Coast. Only difference is the sex of the victim and the race. But they're being treated completely differently by the legal system. Those 2 men have had twice the Director of Public Prosecutions has said they have no case to answer. This country has a case to answer. The deliberate committing of genocide and ethnocide against my people. Human rights. I get more use out of toilet paper than I get out of human rights. It actually serves a purpose, toilet paper. This does not serve any purpose for our people and making other people feel good about what they think they've done. The Daisy Bateses of the world, the paternalists who think and continue to think that they know what's best for us and they're going to make sure that we do it their way and not our way. That's what's wrong. This country got off on the wrong foot with lies, with violence. It's not part, was never part of our culture, how they came here. So they need to redress that for a start. I hear instances being told in the speakers today about practices that are only 150 years old and considered the norm, the caste system in India, for example. Our practices are thousands, if not millions of years old, and are given no respect by the dominant Western culture here. Again, because it doesn't suit their purpose. We've got to stop this country doing this to our children. Genocide will be successful if it continues. It has to stop taking the kids, demonising our men, putting our women through this punishment because we're here. I can do the academic route if you want, but I prefer to do it my way because I actually commune with my people much better and articulate for them much better this way. And I'd much prefer to be able to walk in and call Malcolm Turnbull a racist redneck bastard than shake his hand and say, good on you, mate. This country was created out of racism. It prospers every day out of racism. We're the victim of that. Because our place has not to this day been recognised. Our role and our function, our law is not even recognised. Talk about what's wrong here, the law of the land is what's wrong here. It's not the law of the land. It is an alien law from the other side of the world. Not something we want, not something we fought for, not something we need. It actually wholly discriminates against us as a people, as a race. And the fact that I'm born black and I own this continent is need to start addressing. The fact that you take our children every day in your courts. Have a look at that, examine it, please. It is exactly the same as the Old Protection Act 120 years ago. No appeal process for the parents. You're not even told where your kids go most of the time. And you certainly won't get them back once they start this process of removals. None of their programs is about restoration of our children. It's about making the removal permanent. About the act of cultural ethnocide all the time. So leave our kids alone, let us wear them black, because doing anything else to them just creates those kids that don't know who they are, those candidates for suicides at young ages. Your system gives them no hope. Your system gives them no future. So let us keep ours, and we'll give them the hope in the future. You look after yours. I'm finished.
Thank you.